In the cold stillness of space, silence is the default. Planets orbit in complete quiet. Stars are born and die without sound. For centuries, we believed that if something or someone was out there, it would have to scream to be heard across the impossible distances between stars. But we were wrong, because sometimes the loudest messages come not as shouts, but as whispers hidden in the data. It started, as these things often do, with a blur, a pixelated streak against the velvet black of the Milky Way, picked up by the Atlas Observatory in Chile on July 1st, 2025. Subscribe to the channel for more. At first, it looked like a comet, another dusty snowball drifting harmlessly through space. But within hours, something felt off. The object was moving too fast, over 137,000 Taurus-pieds. It wasn't following any known orbit. It wasn't even bound to the sun's gravity. It was just passing through. Only two other objects like this had ever been seen: the mysterious Oumuamua in 2017 and Comet Borisov in 2019. But this one was different, bigger, faster, stranger. Scientists began tracking it from every corner of the globe. Within 24 hours, it was confirmed. 3 Atlas was not from our solar system. It was interstellar, a visitor from the deep unknown. And as more telescopes turned their eyes to it, including the James Webb Space Telescope, the object began to reveal secrets no one was prepared for. Its chemistry was wrong. Its motion was precise. Its behavior, unsettling and buried deep in the light it reflected, was a structured signal, a pattern that shouldn't be there, a transmission not made by chance. For years, humanity has wondered what it would look like. Our first real message from the stars, what language it would use, what symbols, what meaning. But no one expected it to come like this. Not through radio waves or alien alphabets, but through molecular imbalances and spectral anomalies, the language of science itself. Now the evidence is mounting, and the conclusion is terrifying. This object may not be natural. And if it's sending a message, we have to ask, who is it meant for, and what does it say? From the very moment 3 Atlas was spotted, one thing stood out like a siren blaring in the minds of every astronomer on Earth. The speed, 57,000 mph. That's not fast by human standards. That's fast by cosmic standards. So fast that even the immense gravity of the Sun, capable of pulling entire planets into eternal orbit, couldn't slow it down. This object wasn't captured. It wasn't visiting. It was just passing through, unbound, unstoppable. And that meant only one thing. It wasn't from here. To grasp the magnitude of that, you need to understand what speed means in space. At 137,000 mph, 3 Atlas could cross the United States coast to coast in under 2 minutes. It could lap the Earth in less than 8 minutes. It moves 55 times faster than a bullet, more than double the velocity of Voyager 1, our most distant probe. And Voyager took decades to reach interstellar space. 3 Atlas was born there. The only way to move that fast to escape a star system's pull is to be launched either by the gravitational chaos of early planetary formation or by something else. And the trajectory a perfect hyperbola. That means it didn't loop in. It didn't curve around. It sliced straight through the solar system, diving in from above, cutting across the plane of the planets and exiting in a direction that no natural object in our neighborhood could ever take. This is not just another rock. This is a galactic projectile fired through the void, on a path that may have begun billions of years ago. The implications are enormous, because anything moving this fast carries with it not just kinetic energy, but cosmic history. A story written in speed and silence. But 3 Atlas wasn't done writing, because the more closely scientists looked, the stranger its story became. Once telescopes locked onto 3 Atlas, the first priority was clear: scan its light. Every element and molecule in space leaves a fingerprint, patterns in the spectrum that tell us what a thing is made of. Comets, for instance, are usually rich in water vapor. As they approach the sun, their ices heat up and sublimate, releasing a cloud of gas dominated by H2O. Some CO2, sure, trace metals. Yes, but always with water leading the charge. But that's not what 3 Atlas gave us. When the James Webb Space Telescope returned its first full-spectrum readout, scientists were stunned. The ratio of carbon dioxide to water was 8.1. Let that sink in. Most comets release more water than CO2. The extreme cases might reach 2:1, but this was off the charts. The object was releasing 129 kilos of CO2 every second, compared to just 16 of water. That's not a comet. That's a chemical paradox. Some tried to explain it away. Maybe it formed in a different kind of system. One where the CO2 ice line was closer to its star. Maybe cosmic rays stripped its water over billions of years. But none of the models worked. The object's chemistry didn't just stretch the rules, it shattered them. And it wasn't just the carbon dioxide. The Very Large Telescope in Chile picked up another anomaly. Nickel emissions without iron. On Earth and in every meteorite ever studied, iron and nickel are partners forged in the heart of stars, released together when comets warm. But here only nickel appeared. No iron, no explanation. The more data came in, the clearer it became. This object wasn't just unusual. It was unprecedented. A chemical fingerprint unlike anything we've seen, either natural or synthetic. A fingerprint that didn't match any comet. A fingerprint that didn't belong to us. And some scientists began to whisper the unthinkable. What if the anomaly is the message? Speed and chemistry alone would make 3 Atlas one of the most mysterious objects ever observed. But then came something even harder to ignore, its trajectory. As astronomers plotted its path through the solar system, they began to notice something strange. It wasn't just passing randomly. It was gliding through a sequence of planetary near misses. First, it would pass within 0.19 astronomical units of Mars, about 29 million kilometers, then 0.65 astronomical units from Venus, and finally just 0.36 astronomical units from Jupiter. 3 major planets, one after the other, all within months. That might sound like coincidence, but when Avi Loeb and his team ran the probabilities, they came back with a number that sent chills down the spine of the scientific community. 0.05%. That's the chance of a random interstellar object executing such a sequence by accident, 1 in 20,000. And it wasn't just where it passed, it was how. The alignment mimicked the exact kinds of gravity assist flybys used by human spacecraft. It mirrored the logic of Voyager, of New Horizons, of Cassini. And the object needed no fuel, no propulsion, just timing, perfect timing. Some dismissed it as a cosmic fluke. Others weren't so sure because the final detail was even stranger. The object would reach its closest point to the Sun, while hidden behind it from Earth's view. During its most active and visible phase, it would be on the far side of the Sun, invisible to all ground-based telescopes. That's not just improbable, that's eerie. It's as if the object planned its most important maneuver at the one time we couldn't see it. What kind of visitor moves with that kind of precision? And why hide the most important part of its journey? For weeks, scientists had been staring at the data, trying to make sense of the numbers, the spectral ratios, the molecular breakdowns, the missing iron, the overabundant CO2. But then someone noticed something else, something beneath the noise. In the spectral data embedded in the frequencies reflected by the object was a pulse. Not an audio signal, not a radio burst, but a pattern in the light, repeating, structured, not random. A modulation that showed up in different wavelengths, repeating at consistent intervals across different observations. It wasn't natural, not by any known process. It didn't match solar interference. It didn't match thermal noise. It was timed. It was encoded. And when analysts compared it to known mathematical structures, what they found was even more disturbing. The pulse aligned with patterns found in self-correcting digital code, the kind of logic used in computers, in artificial systems, in designed transmissions. Was this the signature of a propulsion system, an internal reactor, or was it a broadcast hidden in plain sight using the object's reflective properties to speak without speaking? Some believe it's a message, others think it's bait, but one thing is certain, it's not silence. It's communication through physics, a signal we were never meant to hear, but are now unable to ignore. As 3 Atlas continued its journey through the solar system, researchers from the European Space Agency and NASA began to notice a curious irregularity in the way background starlight bent around the object. At first it appeared subtle, just a faint distortion in how photons traveled near its path. But over time, as more data accumulated from parallax telescopic imaging, the pattern became undeniable. 3 Atlas was acting as a microgravitational lens, bending light in ways that were too strong for its mass. According to Newtonian mechanics, the object's size and assumed composition could not cause that level of lensing, not even close. This revelation sparked a frenzy in gravitational modeling labs. If the object was producing a lensing effect, disproportionate to its mass, there were only two options. Either our models of gravity need rewriting, or 3 Atlas is manipulating its own local gravitational field. That concept, once relegated to science fiction, began to gain traction. Could the object be generating an artificial field? If so, what was its purpose? Camouflage, shielding, data collection?